Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our weekly news roundup video. Coming up in this video, we're going to have a look at some F1 seats in 2026 and some rumours surrounding those. Have a look at some rumoured upgrades coming in the next few weeks. Some news on Cadillac and their engines going forward. And some news on two brand new Formula One adjacent documentaries that are coming to Netflix very, very soon. All of that and more to come in this gripping news video. Before we do that though, remember to like and subscribe. And a huge shout out to the members. Dakota, The Joyous James, Ron Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, Michael Johnson, Mr. Eurovision 1986, No Edam on Sandwiches, Flandy Skick, and our newest member, Philip. He does the shorts for this channel. If you've ever seen our videos on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram, he edits all them. He's also become a member, so welcome, Philip, to the membership. My goodness, if you want to become a member, you can click the link in the description down below, either on YouTube or on the Patreon. There's a brand new video that went out on this channel yesterday where I buy fake F1 merch on Temu, including that there poster. And this here tapestry, they're both from Temu. They're both in the video. There is other items as well. We have one item for every F1 team on the grid, so go check that one out. Of course, if you are a Mansell Mustache member, you've already been able to see that video for like a week. And going forward, any videos you will see early as well, including our next big edited video, which will come out the Friday after the Miami Grand Prix. For everyone else, get a bit earlier if you are a member, although I'm not sure entirely when, because if Max Verstappen wins the Miami Grand Prix, I have to change the end of the video that comes out on Friday. If he's second or lower, it can stay the same. So I can't render it yet until we find out the result of that video. Of course, if you're a Mansell Mustache member, you get to see the entire series of Stop and Go F1 Retro Review 1981, which is out at the minute as well. We had the Spanish Grand Prix on Friday. Next Friday, we look at the French Grand Prix, which, let me tell you, might be the worst F1 race I've ever seen in my entire life. But, well, we made it fun. We made it fun. It's no shock, it's the shortest episode of the series, but we make it fun, as always. Right, on to the news, and the biggest headline for me of this week is this one. George Russell has held informal talks with Red Bull. Although George Russell is expected to extend his Mercedes contract, the British driver, like most drivers, is understood to be exploring his options. Per the latest reports, George Russell and team principal Christian Horner have held informal talks over the recent weeks. Now, this comes off the back of discussions, of course, of one Max Verstappen, because, as always, as of late, Max Verstappen is the main character of Formula One. Anyone else gets a penalty, it's discussed for about 24 hours. Max Verstappen gets a penalty, that's news for a good month. But Max Verstappen, of course, has got a contract with Red Bull up until 2028, I believe. But there is all sorts of performance clauses in that, which means that he could leave. The one which is being speculated on at the minute, is that if he is outside of the top three of the championship, he can leave his contract. At the minute, if we look at the fridge, I don't think you'll be able to see that, but I'll tell you. At the minute, he's third. George Russell is fourth. Max Verstappen currently third. Red Bull at the minute do not look like they have a car capable to challenge the McLaren team. Also, Red Bull haven't been a great place to be, it would seem, over the past, 15 months? With everything that happened with Christian Horner, with Adrian Newey leaving, with Jonathan Wheatley leaving, with, was it Rob Marshall, who went to McLaren? He left as well. Then you have the revolving seat of the second driver. Overall, not a great place to be in terms of, general happiness. So there's many reasons as to why Max Verstappen might want to leave. The question would be, where would he go from there? And the two places which are pointed at the most are Mercedes and Aston Martin. Now, Mercedes, both of their drivers are out of contract at the end of this year, both Kimi Antonelli and George Russell. it is speculated that if one of them was to go, it would be George Russell, despite the fact that this year, I think he's, so far, having the best season of his career. He's been absolutely fantastic. I think I read the other day that he's the only driver to be in the top 5 of every race so far this year. I think that's correct, because, yeah, we would have had... I'm going to double check, just to make sure. But I think that's correct. Either way, he has been tremendously consistent. He's been fantastic so far. But if you had to choose between Mercedes dropping him or Mercedes dropping Kimi Antonelli, I still think the right decision to make would be to drop Russell, because Antonelli is such a big prospect for the future. No, that stat was not true, because Lando Norris has also not been outside the top 5. Maybe it was outside the top 5 in qualifying as well. Qualifying and the races. Because, of course, Lando's been outside the top 5 twice now. Has George Russell been outside the top 5 in qualifying this year? Here we go. I'm going to find out. No, he hasn't. That must have been the stat I saw, everyone. George Russell, only driver to finish every qualifying and race in the top 5 so far this year. Either way, he's doing fantastically well, doing really well. But yeah, Kimi Antonelli is this huge prospect for the future. Mercedes can't afford to lose him, because even though George Russell is doing better right now, in 5 years from now, you would put your money on Antonelli doing the better. So if they were to drop one, it looks like Russell would be the one to go. So in that position, personally, if you ask me now, I think next year, Verstappen is still at Red Bull, Russell is still at Mercedes. But, like it said in that piece there, everyone's got to look at their options. So, if in this very small chance Max Verstappen did leave Red Bull and did go to Mercedes, George Russell has to have somewhere to go, and realistically, the best place for him to go would be Red Bull, because I don't see Aston Martin dropping Stroll and paying George Russell $300 million, billion, cajillion dollars, or whatever it's being reported. So I think a straight swap from there would be the best way to go. Will it happen? I doubt it. Especially considering Red Bull seem quite confident that by this time next month, their car shall be in a good position, because it is reported a big update for Red Bull will arrive at Imola, and this combined with the front wing technical directive that will come into place in Spain will give an advantage back to Red Bull in terms of challenging McLaren. So, it's a multiple step process here, because we've got Miami next, then there's a week off, and then it's Imola. So we've got 3 weeks until this upgrade comes either way. And then it's a triple header. The end of that triple header is the Spanish Grand Prix. So there's 5 races between now and when Red Bull think that they can properly challenge McLaren. But this puts us in such an interesting position in terms of narratives for a season. Because if we look at last year, this is just basically the complete opposite. Last year, Red Bull started as the strongest car. After Imola, Miami, it swapped round to McLaren being the fastest car, and Lando Norris and McLaren chasing down Red Bull and Max Verstappen throughout the rest of the season. This year, we start the year with McLaren being the fastest of the cars, and we could potentially see Red Bull make that switch to become the fastest car after Spain and have to challenge and chase down McLaren for the rest of the season. The only difference between the two is when McLaren became the fastest car last year, Max Verstappen was quite a bit far ahead than where Lando Norris, where Oscar Piastri is right now. Because Oscar Piastri, I think, right now is 13 points ahead of Max Verstappen. If we look at the championship, so Oscar Piastri on 99 points, Max Verstappen in third is 12 points behind. Whereas if we look at 2024, let's go to Miami. We say Miami was the one where it all changed. So China was the race before Miami. It was the 5th race of the year. In the championship, Max Verstappen was on 110 points. The best McLaren at that point was Lando Norris on 58. So after 5 races last year, Max Verstappen was 52 points ahead. After 5 races this year, Oscar Piastri is 12 points ahead. So the gap is nowhere near as big, but they still have got a few more races to go in terms of when Red Bull think they can challenge. So the first race we will probably see that, hopefully would be, from their point of view, will be Spain, which is the 9th race of the year, which would leave 13 races after that of Red Bull feeling that they can challenge. So, this championship, I feel, is very much still up in the air. Oscar Piastri leading right now, but Lando Norris is only 10 points behind him. Max Verstappen is still in there. And like I've said since the first few races, I think Mercedes are one good upgrade package away from George Russell being in contention as well. He's in 4th at the minute. He is 26 points behind, so still not massively behind. Still in contention, I feel, at this point. So, the championship, definitely not over. Do not write this one off just yet. Still lots of turns for this story to have. Moving on, though, looking forward to 2026 and 2029, it's been confirmed this week by the FIA that Cadillac can use the GM performance power units from 2029 and beyond. Until then, they will be powered by Ferrari. So going forward next year, Ferrari will power their own team, of course. They will power Haas, and they will power the Cadillac team as well. Then into 2029, which seems like a million years away from now, but realistically it's only 4. Cadillacs will use the GM performance power units from then. It's also been confirmed, I think this was either this week or last week, the whole V10 for 2026 thing is not happening. They will go ahead with the ones that have already been proposed. Who knows what the 2029 engine ruling will be? Will it be V10s? Will it not be V10s? Who's to know for right now? But it will be Ferrari Cadillac in 2026, and then will be Cadillac GM 2029. That's all to come in the future. But let's talk about Netflix. Everyone loves Netflix. Everyone loves Drive to Survive. But that is not the only F1 affiliated documentaries that we will be seeing on Netflix from now on, because a new documentary called The Seat will be released on the 20... Sorry, not the 20. I'm reading the wrong one. The Seat will be released on the 5th of May, all about the rise of Mercedes' Kimi Antonelli and the story of him becoming a Mercedes driver. This is one of the weirdest sentences I'm ever going to say. It is a WhatsApp original documentary, which will premiere on Netflix on the 5th of May. I think that could be very, very interesting. I think Kimi Antonelli is an incredibly interesting driver and is being earmarked as one of those ones to watch for the future, very much in the same way that Max Verstappen was over 10 years ago now. But if Kimi Antonelli goes the same way as Max Verstappen, I think this documentary will be one that will be watched for decades to come. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But yeah, that is definitely one which is of interest to me, even though it's a WhatsApp original documentary. What the hell are WhatsApp doing making documentaries? It makes no sense. You might as well have a Microsoft PowerPoint official documentary. It does. I don't know anymore. These companies making documentaries. What is going on? Anyway, it's not the only documentary coming to Netflix, because on the 28th of May, a F1 Academy documentary will premiere on Netflix as well, and I haven't even written down the name of it, but that should be very interesting. I've seen a few people put on Instagram that they're going to be part of this. Oh, it's called The Academy. It should be very interesting, coming in May. The only thing I have to say about it is, firstly, I will be watching it, because of course I watch F1 Academy. We have the coverage of all the F1 Academy races on the channel here, if you are a fan of F1 Academy. But the interesting thing is, I saw Bianca Bustamante put on her Instagram that she was part of it. I think she had a photo with a clapperboard, and it was all a thing. The only thing is, she's not in it anymore. And that's the thing with F1 Academy, is you can only do 2 seasons, and then you've got to go. So you have this kind of revolving door of drivers. So when we watch F1 Academy, and it's going to be focusing on the people, the drivers, the same way F1 Drive to Survive does. That's about the people behind the helmets, and they're real human beings, don't you know? So it's going to be, right, get emotionally attached to this person, and you go, wow, that Bianca Bustamante is fantastic. I'll watch some F1 Academy. Oh, she's not in it. Okay. And also, if we're going to talk about it, she wasn't really that great. You know, the star of F1 Academy, or if you want to talk about the stars of F1 Academy, from a purely performance point of view, it is Abby Pulling, who isn't in it anymore, Dorian Pan, who's in her last season, Maya Vug, who's in her last season, Chloe Chambers, who's in her last season. Realistically, this F1 Academy documentary, it should be focusing on people like an Ella Lloyd, a Nina Gaidman, you know? Those drivers who are going to be here not just this year, but next year as well. But also, it's a documentary on what's happened in the previous year. So it's a really interesting thing where you have a documentary where the people who are in it are halfway through their career in that spec series either way. So I think it'll be an interesting one. I don't know if it'll work as well as Drive to Survive, but we shall wait and see. I'll definitely be watching it at the time. That's all we got time for, really, this week. That is all the big headlines. I was looking through the headlines this morning on this stuff, but Lewis Hamilton doesn't feel very confident. But it's I don't want to talk about that right now. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll all come together in the end, and if it doesn't, we'll talk about it then. But yeah, that's it for now. As I said, on Tuesday we'll have the next episode. Oh, I just punched the mic. So sorry. On Tuesday is the next episode of Stopping My F1 Retro Review of 1981, the French Grand Prix. It's a boring race, but as I said, we made it fun. Then it is the Miami GP next weekend. It's a bloody sprint weekend as well. My goodness, I didn't even realise. And it's my birthday. I might not even be here on the Saturday. So we'll be all over the place next weekend, but we'll have all the coverage you need. So tune in for all that. I think F1 Academy's back, is it? Who knows? We'll find out next weekend. I'll see you then. Until then, though, have a good one. Goodbye.